what did you make of the Russell Wilson Seattle trade with Denver? What do you think of that, Greg Olsen?
I don't want to say I'm surprised. I mean, I shouldn't say I was surprised that it actually ended up. I was not surprised that those rumors have been around. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I mean, it just seemed like there was that something was coming to an end, that there was a new kind of changing of the guard going on there. And no mistake that Russ wanted to be somewhere where it was an offensive-driven league and it was an offensive-driven team and a system and whatnot. It was just a matter of, would Seattle ever part ways with a franchise quarterback and someone like Russ, who's kind of such a key figure in that organization's history and has won a Super Bowl and is kind of one of the marquee players in the league. So when the news broke yesterday, I got a couple of texts from some buddies and they're like, Russ is traded. I was like, what? But I think it makes sense to Denver. I think Denver was one of those spots that all along always seemed like a spot that was a quarterback away from being a contender. So there's not always a lot of those situations, but I feel like Denver was one of them. You could say Indianapolis was one of them. I'm sure for Denver, getting him out of the NFC was a big factor in sending him to Denver. So I think it doesn't surprise me. I think he can go there and win. I think that roster, I think it's going to be an offensive-driven system with Hackett coming from Green Bay. And obviously they have some weapons offensively. They got some young pieces. So I think it checks a lot of the boxes that he's looking for. And listen, with his no trade clause, if he wasn't on board, he wouldn't have accepted the trade. So it seems like this was something all parties were on board with, and that's usually how things get worked out. Right.
So where do you stand on the fact that he's entering his mid-30s and for the first time missed some games last year? His MVP season the year before fizzled out, and that Denver's not getting the Russell Wilson that we all came to know and that Seattle came to love. What are your thoughts on that, Greg?
Yeah, I just think we've seen so many quarterbacks. I mean, we still see it this day with Rodgers and Brady, and we saw Breeze play at a high level for a long time. And I just think we see quarterbacks play well into their 30s, mid to late 30s and 40s with Brady. So I just think, with the guy, just being around Russ and seeing how he prepares and how he takes care of his body and the team he has around him, that, you talk about a guy who is fully committed to his craft and fully committed to his off season. There's no difference with him the day before a playoff game or in February training at his place where he built a weight room and built a football field at his house in San Diego. And I mean, he's sparing no expense. He's not cutting any corners. I mean, he's going to be one of those guys that is taking care of his body at an everyday, all the day type basis, all the time type basis. And, I just think he's a guy that can play. He's been vocal about it. He thinks he can play, past 40. And I think he has a lot of things that he still wants to accomplish. So I don't think I'd be concerned about his age. I don't think that's right now. He's entering the part where that's a factor. But I still think he's got a good amount of ball left in him physically and mentally. He's he's very strong and very passionate about what he does.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.